Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be here once more, and I thank the THTI to invite me to this very special event. I think that today in Thailand something very important is happening, starting a new very interesting long-term development process, which I'm sure will be successful in the future. Before entering into my presentation, just a few words to introduce myself and my company. Elementi Moda is my company, and I founded it in 1979. And since then, I consult fiber, textile, and fashion international companies to define trends and to transform them into commercial products complying with customers' expectations. We provide information as to color directions, yarns, and fabric innovation, and trendy silhouettes. We help our customers to present and motivate their collections through catalogs, video, storytelling, which is a very important point to enhance the quality and the content of the collections. Elementi Moda and myself personally, we are member of international trend committees. Intercolor has already been mentioned, but also Première Vision, Intertextile in China, and we organize research, selection, and display of products at the trend forums of leading textile exhibitions. Trend definition and product development are the core business of my activity, a work that has dramatically changed since the beginning of the new century, becoming very complex and articulate. I will try to illustrate the elements that nourish my competence and help me in concretely developing good and successful products for our customers. The evolution we are experiencing since the beginning of the new century, as I said, is unclassifiable and unpredictable. In current times, all parameters are variable, dynamic, layered, multidimensional. As individuals, we can be present on various levels and channels simultaneously. Screens throw a layer over reality and allow us instant access to a wide range of information and communication opportunities. This makes it extremely difficult to define new directions and trends. Drivers are today the new consumer needs, expressing the independence of new generations, the divergences, or on the contrary, the attractions, the uniqueness, and in the same time, the multiplicity of new ideas, the freedom to propose innovative solutions, giving up to static concepts and opening to new flows. According to many of the leading fashion gurus, trend-led fashion is a thing of the past. However, although the fashion industry might be thinking in post-trend or personal wardrobe terms, that doesn't mean that it's the end for trends. It's just a new approach, a different evaluation system, a work in progress method, crossing a wide range of information and inputs. We will trace inspiration and influences helping us to define brand or company positioning and perspective going through the trends, inspiration, influences, the importance of intuition, innovation, a very important point today because new materials are getting more and more important. Wearable technology is a reality. Sustainability is a new investment direction. We will consider the consumer's attitudes, ageless, genderless, and so on. We will see how we can implement our collections, and we will analyze how the retail scenario is changing already very dramatically and even more advanced for the future. Designing the future means monitoring, tracking, identifying, tracking the market and the relevant events, the financial and economic situation, the social and cultural influences, tracking the evolution of these elements and identifying the new emerging trends, but also what is evolving, not completely changing, but carrying on, adapting to some slight variations. Digital technology will help us in this procedure as the changes get quicker and quicker. However, the personal curiosity, as Steve Jobs was saying, and intuition will be essential. That means taking an interest in things, people, in the relationship between artifacts and social life. But let's identify what is a trend. A trend is a general direction in which something is changing to interpret a popular taste at a given time, following a transitional increase or decrease of market acceptance of the innovative products. Innovation can be expressed by new fibers or materials, new product processes, and this word will be very important for the future. Everything which has to do with finishings, washing, coating, bonding, and so on will be very, very important. Of great importance, of course, the color scene, which is renewed every season and continuously updated. Innovation means also new silhouettes or reviewed bestsellers, but also a different way of combining. Recent examples in collections like Gucci, for instance, are showing how different can be the mix and match of the different pieces of our clothing, mixing and matching all the new garments in the same time. Trend is a mood expressed in a distinctive style. However, the transitional time we are experiencing leaves trends very fluid. Nothing is as it was before, but the new is not yet defined, and it doesn't relate with the previous one with continuity and coherence, which means that we run a risk when we do new things, but it's a risk which we must take into consideration if we want to proceed on the new direction of creativity. Inspiration, insights are the fuel for innovation. Design thinkers use the word as a source of inspiration to generate new ideas. Being inspired starts with empathy. It is standing in another person's shoes, looking at people and seeing things from their point of view, not only our own. Analyze the world of the consumers and the users and understand this world on multiple levels. Social influences play a very important role, and we are all aware of the influences of images in today's society. The visual scene, movies, musical events, moving thousands of people impress particularly the new generations, those whose way of thinking and acting are pushing the industry and the market to change. However, it's quite interesting to notice that there are very, sometimes really very unexpected events happening. I told you before that we have very contrasting directions living in the same time. Here, for instance, you can see it on the right, on the top. It's a way to react to noise, a sort of digital diet. It's the Silent Festival organized by the department store Selfridges in London. So against the noise of music and the lot of talking and so on, just no noise, relax, detox. A trend interpreting the necessity to create a space where the consumer can breathe and reconnect with his own emotions and spirit using poetic images. The word breathe is going to have a role in the next trends. We have had recently the international meeting of Intercolor, where 16 different countries participate and talking about the colors for Spring-Summer 2018. And one of the themes we came out to define was really about breathe. Rest, relax, take a breath, and look further. And this is a very interesting new approach to fashion development. Cognitive or cultural influences are mainly related to information and knowledge, which comes through press, covering crossover sectors, but also from design, from architecture, from home decoration, lifestyle. It's very important to see that when a trend is a real trend, is generally a crossover trend, crossing all of these sectors at the same time. Social media are privileged information today and exchange tools. But cultural influences are today very much influenced by the artistic scene. Museums, art exhibitions, installations are attended by an increasing number of visitors. This knowledge can now fuel stories, entertain, surprise, involve a really wider audience, going beyond the narrow circle of professionals to establish itself as a link between culture and industry. Forays in art and performances are important to discover how inspirations, narrative codes, essential concepts change. We have had very recently in Italy a special installation. You can see it on the top of the left of the image. The recent Cristo installation on our lake, Lago Iseo in Italy, moving 55,000 visitors on the floating piers, enabling them to walk on the water of the lake to reach the small island in the front of the coast. Cristo artistic projects communicate to everybody, as art does normally, even those who have less interest for contemporary and modern art. The deep and immediate emotion is very important here, and emotion is really moving fashion quite a lot. Another point of reflection for fashion is the strong flow towards the consciousness and the interest for themes as health, well-being, conscious consumption, pushing many consumers to recognize the values of essentiality, to focalize important topics, and to engage themselves for a better world, giving more importance to quality. Another word which we should keep in mind for fashion, textile, quality is very important, instead of quantity, to experience instead of possession. Well, we cannot really forget, it's so important today that inequality, alienation, estrangement are disrupting phenomena in current times. We live in a society of uncertainty and fear. Climatic calamities, economic and financial crashes, terrorist outrages and wars push the change. The design language speaks about collaboration. It's also the theme of today's meeting, and pushes a more human scale and reconnection with nature. Just a few examples of the most important events which happened recently, the reaction on the contrary of Greenpeace to detox the world, the attack in Paris, Charlie, and so on. So very, very dramatic situations which are not going to change, but are changing every day our life. Well, when we talk about textile, especially, but not only in fashion as well, specific information about innovation and trends can also be collected at international trade exhibitions. Here you can see some of the trend forums of leading textile exhibitions. Trend forums where not only fabrics are exhibited, or materials and garments, but expanding the information to lifestyle trends, market surveys, scouting. During lunch, we were discussing with some of the other lecturers about the real change which also exhibitions should have in the future. Less and less commercial opportunities, more and more information possibilities. Because it's really, an exhibition is really a meeting point where people can meet, can learn a lot, exchange experience, find ways to cooperate with our colleagues, and I think that interesting new exhibition should definitely have at least one part dedicated to these possibilities. Exhibitions are also developing. I just take the example of Pitti Uomo in Florence. It's, I really think, the most important and interesting menswear exhibition in the world. They have developed a digital version of the exhibition. It's very important because you are going to be personally in Florence during the exhibition. There are incredible events, and the display is very well done and very emotional and informative. When you go home, you can visit the exhibition again quietly in front of your screen, and you can visualize the collections, but you will also meet online influencers proposing their style suggestions with creative mood boards. And so you can make up your decision what to buy and when and so on. So I think that this service, into brackets, services, going to be very important for the future. Well, if we look forward, we need to have also information about technological developments and technological research. Innovation means doing something new, possibly useful, involving technicality, methodology, processes, as well as the human factor. And it's again something to do cooperating with people with other capacities. The scientist, the designer, the producer, the consumer, they work together, share experiences, competence, visions to move from the idea to the product, from the virtual to the real. Technological research is a great opportunity, and it evolves in various directions as to fibers and fabrics, as well as finishing processes and wearable devices. Here you can see some images where very interesting new sensitive materials, heat-reactive liquid crystal coatings, luminescent optic fibers have already been introduced, and down on the right, integrating wearable design devices so that every surface could act as a computer display. In a world where technology promotes beauty and sustainability, enhancing the complexity of senses and a new idea of uniqueness, special finishings and coatings can make the difference. Not only aesthetical, lacquered, bonded, metallized, iridescent effects are feasible, unifying the aesthetic and the functional characteristic of the fabric and the garment, but also stone-washed, weathered, and vintage effects, which are very fashionable, especially in the denim sector, can be produced by eco-friendly enzyme treatments. Technology and material research create an unexplored space for design experimentation, which overcomes traditional categories. By using 3D printing technology to transform liquid into crystal, we can model creative shapes. Stereolithography is the gold standard for 3D print resolution and surface finishing. In a photopolymer-based process, a high-precision system directs a laser across a tray of liquid resin and causes a thin layer to solidify, and this built platform then rises in preparation for the next layer and the next one, and after a certain number of repetitions, the part is complete with exquisite details. See the shoes on the right of the image, or the decoration of the garment of Iris van Herpen on the left. By exploring natural electricity influences, the same that enervates us when we get out of a car, for instance, with rubber shoes, we can translate it into imaginative collection. Here on the left, on the bottom of the image, where the sculptural dress is perfectly captured, the energy connotations with moving fringes, as did, again, the designer Iris van Herpen, who is very much interested in all these new technical and innovative solutions. But it's not only in this direction that we work. There is no denying that biotechnology will be part of our textile future. Rather than exploit plants or petrochemicals to provide the raw material for fabrics, there is a very interesting project named BioCouture by Susan Lee and Dr. David Hempworth, investigating the use of microbes to grow a textile biomaterial. So selected bacteria will spin microfibrils of pure cellulose during fermentation, which form a dense layer that can be harvested and dried to make a garment, the one you can see on the right of the screen. There has been progress in bioactive fabrics with nanoparticles or luminous photocatalytic fabrics for decreasing indoor air pollution. Microencapsulation is already a development available on the market, activating the blood flow and support sport players' balance. It's true that there is a certain urgency in finding alternatives to the polymers made from fossil fuels, or to using fibers that are more respectful of the environment than those that are now the warp and weft of our clothing and home textiles. Sustainability is the great challenge of today and an investment for the future. It will push research and investments. Recycling plastic bottles is an important reality. You can see here some of the garments which have been developed with the new material, which is called the New Life. The resulting yarn is totally derived from recycled post-consumer bottles by a mechanical, not a chemical process, certified 100% made in Italy, and the fabrics have been the object of exclusive garments seen on the Gold Globe Award ceremony. Livia Firth, who we see here with her husband Colin Firth, the actor, on top of the right, has launched the new line fabrics on what she called the green carpet instead of the red carpet, involving a deeper awareness about ethic values, physical wellness, balance, and of course, good design. Continuing with increased environmental awareness, the major trend for the sector would be significant innovations in sustainability, reducing water and energy consumption, which are vital developments for the benefit of the environment and saving costs. Environmental and economic consideration go hand in hand, it's natural, and have been the driving force for the last few years, even in areas such as finishing, where water consumption and pollution were a particular issue. This creativity is reoriented not only towards natural and eco-fibers, but the research is looking for alternative textile made from almost everything. You recognize probably here organic cotton, organic wool is available, linen and hemp, lotus and bamboo lead the range. But other materials are also available and very interesting. Man-made fibers out of natural sources like milk, corn, coffee, crab shell, algae are the co-creators of today's textiles, starting from the premises that clothing will play a role for our well-being. The new materials have a very special performances. They can be analgesic, they are by nature antibacterial, they take care of perspiration and moisture management, they protect from fire, rain, and wind, they must be easy care and easy wear. They will be self-cooling, anti-shock, air filtering. All these innovations are really the stuff of dreams, except that the market reality is sometimes less welcoming than utopia. But it's very important to say that these are the fibers which we are going to meet in the next years, and will be, in a concrete way, a new challenge. They should not be used to cause a sensation. It would be really pointless. Important is, on the contrary, to rise technical and new aesthetic challenges. Well, I said that I will take you along the process which I also personally follow to define the new trend directions and to be able to finalize the idea on which to build new collections and new developments. We have been through the materials, through the innovation concepts now, and we are now analyzing the new consumers' attitudes, which lead us to define not only the selections of the materials, but the shapes and how to build up our proposals to satisfy the customer's request. A strong flow towards consciousness and interest for the new direction which we call ageless. We know that the world population is getting older and healthier, especially in Europe. The older generation is much more important in all the countries, in Italy, Germany, France, and so on. So we cannot identify trends anymore by age groups. Style choices of the younger generation are often guided by individual needs or wishes with an ego-centered approach. On the contrary, you can see on the right, the new mature generation is larger, is richer, with more free time, and they often choose a more casual and relaxed style that make them look younger. You can see they have, older people have been, or mature people have been selected for the fashion show, Oliver Spencer on the catwalk, or Celine publicity. And both trend levels are also very good for the younger consumers. We observe this occurrence also through this example. Another important point, which is definitely inspiring and leading the new developments, is the trend which has been defined as genderless or gender neutral. The boundaries between masculine and feminine are becoming less pronounced. The feminization of men, as well as the new roles of women in the society, are blurring the lines. We can see it also through the color selection in the recent collections, commercial collection, pret-à-porter collection. Menswear was very much presented in pastel shades of pink, of pale blue, of ivory, and of course white for sure. So even the color codes are changing and are adapted to this new gender neutral direction. We are talking about a new normality. Giorgio Armani expressed himself in this direction, criticizing somehow what other big brands are doing when mixing or exaggerating or pushing trends which sometimes can look a little bit ridiculous, honestly. So the new normality is one of the directions to follow. The multiple ethical values of fluidity, flexibility, and localism lead to a new interest for the normal, banal, obvious. Clothes for humans to dress down. Entering a phase of new pragmatism, this design, which is we could say it's a non-design. Also, we have heard this morning that everything is designed. it's about allocating functional and subtle ways to create perfection. Collections are available in components that can be built and evolve as required. Brands like Vêtements, it's a very interesting new brand. It's a collective designed collection, which leader is Demna Gvasalia, one of the leading designers in the moment, put their focus on doing basic streetwear garments. So the collection is just basic t-shirt, bombers, trainers, anti-fashion, which is fashion, ordinary and utilitarian. Even in more formal business occasions, in America is very new. There is a new direction which they called business casual, which is mainly for menswear, to approach the new, younger consumers. And it's combining basic, simple garments, maybe with a more formal jacket, to have this business-looking, more formal way of dressing. And together with new normal, the concept goes even further with slow down. This restless system breaks faith with followers, laying waste to the concept of loyalty and continuity. Could we do something different, really? Slowing down can be a solution, offering less choice, stepping back and thinking about what is really relevant, not saturating us with images of celebrities, of bloggers, to whom the clothes have been probably given or loaned. Fashion needs to restore its cool, surprise, its mystic, its glamour. Things can never go backwards, but new models are possible, moving into a more human-scale direction, both in terms of clothes and ethos. And this slow-down direction has inspired in very recent collections, Fendi, Cucinelli, Cividini, and so on, interesting shapes, selection of materials, cocooning, soft, lightweight, delicate, warming up, easy in the shapes, wrapping the body. So it's not just a philosophical concept, but it is something which has really influenced a lot the development of the garments. Opposed to slow down, the new direction, another new direction which is very important, and the name is an invented new concept. It's about athleisure. It's dress to move, a seasonless approach to urban sport, where versatility, well-being, sustainability express themselves both in everyday streetwear as well in the luxury market. We expect these garments to be comfortable, functional, healthy. The same outfit will accompany us from the morning jogging to office work until leisure time in the evening, moving from the gym and living a full time on the street. Technical textiles find here their place. Smart textiles, which are very, very important in the further development of materials. They have become a major segment globally because of several advantages, like function requirement, health and safety, cost effectiveness, and durability. But we cannot forget sensitivity. I said in the beginning that fashion is emotion, and sensitivity is definitely part of this emotional situation. New behaviors are stimulating the emerging fields of a state of mind that champions emotional satisfaction. Common denominator is a thirst for creative influences that refer to art, use of light and space, color or its absence, creative expression of emotion that influence the delicacy and softness of materials. We refer very much here to silk, silky shine, iridescent effects, romantic floral prints, poetic laces, and refined brocades, loose, elegant shapes, and very important for the next season, the development of velvet, velour effects, which are going to be very influential both in the winter and in the spring-summer collections. It's a story which relates to very high quality materials because, as I mentioned, the silk, brocades, printed silk as well are here very important. Cashmere, soft wool types, double-sided, lightweight but warm in fabrics are very much on request here. Lace, which is fashionable now, but is going on and continue to be fashionable for the next collections. We have heard many times today talking about local traditions and the importance of transferring into fashion the traditional culture of the country. And I called it layers of time. We live a tension which is due to continue between the past and the present, the nostalgia for what has been and the need for innovation. This time is marked by the consciousness about the value of the local, what we call the local genius, the importance of learning from the past, rediscovering and reviving the values of tradition. Traditional craft skills have stories to tell. Valuable does not necessarily mean only luxurious or over-decorated. On the contrary, consumers are attracted by a new cultural and sophisticated elegance that enhances quality and essence. Well, you have here an example of a Gucci bag or Ferragamo shoes, but I could also mention Hermes recently and other big brands which have displayed and invited the consumer to see directly how things are made by hand, how important is the knowledge of the maker, the craftsmanship they express by making these bestsellers, I would say, which are beautiful although they are not new. And I think that this is part of this tradition and handcraft concept which we can carry on and which is an incredible value in your country, maybe less in Europe today, where many things are more or less going in the same directions, and we have lost a little bit of our background history, but here still very important. And when we talk about this crafted effect, we come to the idea of customization and made to measure. There is a growing interest in customization, which continues to stand as a counterpoint to the modern era of mass production. Technology helps us and supports and generates unique and unexpected results. Brands take care of customers' growing desire for individual and personal creative expression by customizing and making to measure services, reproduction, the popularity of the manual process on an industrial scale, in factories where the most advanced technology meets traditional craftsmanship in a perfect dialogue. Measurements are scanned, so easy to take. They will be transferred to a production facility, which is completely run by computers. The suit is going to be cut and assembled, ready to wear. The eventual assistant in the shop will have the role of a facilitator to connect all these elements and give a very quick and satisfying service to the customer. But going back to what we were saying about tradition, since several seasons, so we have a very, very important trend which has been influenced by cross-culture. We are moving towards a patchwork lifestyle, and fashion takes inspiration from a multi-ethnic universe where different cultures meet, influence each other to produce a global but not globalized style, unique but never uniform, international and rich in details. It's not simply a vintage concept, but the fusion of multiple elements where customs and traditions build a legacy filtered by a cosmopolitan, open-minded view. And this point is very important. We were discussing with the other colleagues about the importance of this traditional infusion into fashion. But as you can see from the garments I selected to illustrate, they have all very modern shapes. And they look absolutely updated, not ethnic in the traditional sense. So there is always a very interesting and clever way of taking advantage and evaluating the traditional culture of a country, but then transforming and interpreting by combining with updated visions and shapes. And finally, we started with norm core, you remember, the normality, the very simple, and so on. And we finish with a completely contrasting direction, which is about show-off. The show-off rules push the society to research what's superfluous, unique. I think that this is the best word to define this type of direction. Eccentric, sometimes ambiguous, extraordinary products to stand up and diversify. Eccentricity is no longer a marginal reaction to conventions and constraints. It frees us of aesthetic codes as it fully expresses a person's richness and humanity. A bold, unconventional, sometimes kitsch approach designed to draw a smile and seduce without fear and tackiness. And I think you will see very interesting images in the next conference by my friend Christina about these really fantastic, unexpected developments. The globalized world of fashion tends to accentuate our differences rather than streamlining taste and needs. I really strongly believe in this uniqueness with a contemporary look in any case. Essentiality and show-off, ageless and genderless, sensitive romantic, active at leisure, tradition and cross-culture will interpret the new directions of fashion. Fortunately, we are not forced to make a choice, as we can rely on multiple resources and solutions, guided by rationality and emotion, by instinct and by the rich culture that leads our exploration path. Opposed tensions push people towards different directions and bold statements that divert from the past. And now we come to the next point, which is how our products, whether they are textile or finished garments, come to the market and to the consumer. The fastness introduced by digital communication tools has opened wider possibilities and provoked new needs. Cloud computing is making instant word connections possible, and therefore an instant diffusion of news, images, services. Digital-born consumers are constantly connected, and their consumption practices are related to a culture promoting fragmented and provisory identities with a particular attention to price and the possibility of service. And when I say service, is quick, fast, immediate delivery. Amazon just announced that they are going to deliver in a very short time. I think in some countries they have already started. They are delivering small packages with drones. So till 5 kilos, they can deliver very quickly during the same day when you have passed your order, your garment to you. See now, buy now is what everybody is talking about, is a new direction to go, directing the products not only to low-budget consumers. Pret-a-porter and luxury brands are also obliged to cover this sector, eventually adopting capsule collections or a selection of accessories or amenities sometimes. And we will probably in September, in a very short time, the new fashion shows will start in New York, Milano, Paris, and London. And this time, I think we will be surprised how certain brands will manage, either by showing the same time men's and ladies' wear, or showing part of the collection which is immediately ready to buy. So big changes are going to take place before end of this year. So we will visualize these elements which influence the retail scenario, moving from traditional retail shops to e-commerce and furthermore to v-commerce. Retail values concentrate on personalization, innovation, as I said, and service. Luxury brands, as well as pret-a-porter brands, are acknowledging the role that social media and advanced sensory-led technology play in consumers' everyday life and adapting them to their purposes with a smart upscale twist, taking the approach of technology as an experience entertainer, introducing, we can see it here, virtual fitting rooms, body scanners, holograms, and even in terms of services, allowing smartphone payment in store. It's now expanding, as well as the integration of e-commerce in store. Many stores give the possibility to collect the garments you have ordered on e-commerce on the screen directly in the shop, so with a quick delivery or a quick service in any case. The rise of concept stores is very important. Concept stores as a sentimental shopping experience, contrasting with the taste of exclusive opportunity, which is sometimes offered by temporary pop-up stores. We have, not only in Italy, but in other countries, very interesting ones. 10 Corso Como. They are based also in Shanghai, Tokyo, and Milano. Colette in Paris, Luisa via Roma in Florence, Antonia, Milano, and probably many other, I don't know all of them. It's a niche shopping which becomes an interesting choice. The endemic saturation of the market requests new strategies. And in the global market, the sum of local niches generates mass turnover. There is an interesting new direction which is developing, shops which specialize on one item. Just to make an example, there is a shop in London named White Company. They only sell white items. And okay, it's a niche, but when you put many niches together, you still have a very important generated business. In Tokyo, the Tokyo Sample Lab is what they call trivertising club store. It's a place where the associated consumers can try products, new products, which are not yet available on the market. And for the producer is also very interesting because before putting the product into the market, they already have the reaction of some of the computers and can eventually modify, adapt, renew, and so on. Well, big department stores, again, they all try to have an upgraded second collection. This just to explain that we are not talking only of mass market, but also considering the possibility of going up into the market level. The exclusivity of flagship stores is paired with shops which are available in location where the consumers move. This is also a very important point to consider. Opening shops in places where people move. It's a train station, it's an airport, it's a hotel, it's office buildings, convenience stores, comfortable, quick, easy accessible. In a moment of great fluidity on international markets, to attract customers into the shops, the fashion industry is widening to open-to-buy strategy, launching also completely new re-assortment in very, very short time with color alternatives, or reviewing bestsellers. And of course, when we talk about distribution, we must mention the outlets. It's a direction which is definitely very important to consider. But I must say that at least in Italy or in European countries, going back to the small boutique, to a more personal way of buying, not in these big, huge places where you experience an emotion, is becoming more interesting again. And of course, when we talk about distribution, we have to think about e-commerce. Internet and the social networks have revolutionized the real essence of the brands. The digital revolution has changed the point of view of consumers as to products and brands. The fashion companies creating experiences from digital opportunities communicate with their customers not only for more visibility and notoriety, but also to increase their influence on the buying decision of consumers. So through photos, videos, promotional campaigns, they generate engagement on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, increasing the frequency of the publications and converting them into a privileged communication. I was talking before about the importance of storytelling. The storytelling of the brand is essential, showing to fans everything that is connected with the brand and the product. Events, backstage, the know-how of the company, the production details. And in fact, it's like going from storytelling to story selling, because it's an incredible support to sales. Without forgetting the importance of bloggers and influencers, experts that are recognized as such by the consumers who will follow their suggestions. And with the arrival of e-commerce, we have shops in the reality which are open 24 hours a day, every day of the year, all over the world, effectively creating one non-stop permanent season. Virtual retail will fade the barrier between the digital and physical world, using technology as an enhancer for products and services. The art of winning online will go through ultra-defined images, high matching colors, extensive storytelling, a tangible shopping experience for consumers who don't give up shopping emotion. E-commerce goes also is also produced by singular companies, by brands. Sometimes they specialize on certain sectors. You have, for instance, here Mr. Porter, which is only menswear, and the company Zegna, Ermenegildo Zegna, very well-known brand in Italy for menswear, just decided not to sell only through their own e-commerce site, but to participate also in this specialized new direction. It's a fluid scenario fitting the next consumer generation. Just a few words on millennials, but you will hear much more tomorrow morning from one of the other lecturers. Millennials and Generation Z who prefer to save time buying online, very important new scenario. They pay great attention to the right time of products delivery. They want a deeper shopping experience, improved by the use of advanced technological devices. They look for customized and tailored products and services, and they are willing to pay a little bit more for it. A shopping scenario due to move further from e-commerce with a passive buying attitude, like you can see here, and to v-commerce, which is the next step, from digital platform to a virtual platform, from browsing, just looking for new things, to interacting, from looking for the best price to looking for the best product and easy selection, seasonal collection to capsule collection, renewed very quickly, always producing new effects. And just the last slide, As I said, the shopping scene is moving very quickly. Probably we all, consumers, will become consumer creators. We can have this double possibility. We will be part of the design process, able to co-author personalized products. The online platform will be most probably have a function as studio and lab in the fast approaching future. And the 3 images show today or yesterday even going with all our shopping bags around. Today, just sitting, looking into our computer, and the bags come directly to deliver at home. And tomorrow, we create virtually what we like and we buy. So maybe it's a vision, but I think that it will probably come sooner than we think. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.